Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today with, with a question I think everyone has asked themselves at least once.
Yeah.
Usually when you're stuck in traffic or, crammed into that middle seat on a flight, if you could just snap your fingers, literally just snap, and be anywhere else on Earth, where would you go? Paris, Fiji.
Inside a bank vault.
Inside a bank vault, exactly. It's the ultimate fantasy, isn't it?
It's the instant escape. No TSA, no commute, no barriers at all.
None. But usually when we talk about teleportation in pop culture, we're talking about, like, Star Trek or superheroes.
Right.
It's a clean tactical advantage. It's used to fight aliens or, save the world. But today we are stripping all of that gloss away. We are looking at a stack of sources centered on the story of David Rice.
Specifically the account in Steven Gould's novel, Jumper.
And we are going to treat it like a real-world case study.
And that distinction is so vital because David Rice, or Davy, he's not a superhero. He doesn't have a costume. He doesn't have a code of ethics. He's a 17-year-old kid from rural Ohio who is, he's deeply traumatized.
So our mission today is really to analyze what happens when you give absolute mobility to someone who has absolutely no stability.
Yeah, we're going to dive into the physics of it, the psychology, the morality of a boy who can literally go anywhere.
But feels like he belongs nowhere.
Precisely.
So let's drop into Stanville, Ohio. It's evening. This isn't a happy intro. We are not seeing a kid get bitten by a radioactive spider.
No, not at all. We're seeing a kid who is just trying to survive his own living room.
And that setting is just so crucial. It's mundane, it's domestic.
But it's been weaponized.
Yeah.
We meet Davy and his father, and the source material it's just so specific about the sensory details of this place.
You can almost feel it.
You can smell it.
Yeah.
Stale air and, much more dangerously, cheap whiskey.
That whiskey smell is the early warning system, isn't it? Davy knows what's coming.
He knows the signs.
And the crime he's committed is he hasn't mowed the lawn.
Right. Which is just a pretext. The punishment is completely unhinged from the act itself.
I want to pause on the dynamic here for a second because it really sets the stage for everything that follows. This isn't just a strict parent.
Oh, no. This is a predator-prey relationship inside what's supposed to be the safest place in the world.
The father corners him. He pins him against the wall. And the specific detail that just anchors the horror of this scene for me is it's the belt.
The buckle.
The buckle. It's not just that he takes off his belt, it's the way he holds it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. He slides the leather through his hand so he's gripping the strap.
Leaving the buckle swinging.
Leaving that heavy, ornate road. If you're disciplining a child, even by, outdated standards, you use the leather strap. If you use the buckle, you are trying to inflict serious damage. You are using a flail.
And Davy knows this. He's screaming, "Not the buckle, Dad, you promised."
That you promised just hits so hard.
It implies a history, right? This isn't the first time. This is a cycle of broken treaties.
It completely dismantles any idea of the father as an authority figure. He's just a monster. And physically, look at what's happening to Davy.
He's pinned. He can't run.
He can't fight back against a grown man. His cortisol is spiking. His adrenaline is just dumping into his system.
It's pure biology.
It's the absolute imperative of fight or flight. But both of those options are physically impossible for him in that moment.
His brain is screaming flight, but his body is completely trapped.
Until it isn't. The belt swings. Davy flinches. He squeezes his eyes shut, just bracing for that metal to hit his skin. And in that one split second of absolute terror, the universe just blinks.
He describes it almost like a physical wrenching, doesn't he? Like being squeezed through a tube.
It's violent. It's not a graceful fade out. It's a painful, disorienting tear in reality. And when he opens his eyes, the screaming is gone. The smell of whiskey is gone.
He's standing in total silence.
And he's in the Stanville Public Library.
Which is, that's the most telling psychological detail of the entire opening sequence.
It really is. He didn't jump to a police station. He didn't jump to a hospital or a friend's house.
No. He jumped to the fiction section.
The fiction section of the library. Because that was his safe space.
The only place he ever felt he could truly escape.
Precisely. The mechanism of the teleportation, this nascent ability, it responded to his subconscious need for safety. He spent his whole life escaping into books. So when his body finally needed to escape reality, it sent him to the place where the books live.
Can you even imagine the physiological shock of that? 1 second you're hyperventilating, you're bracing for a violent impact, and the very next second you are standing in a quiet room that smells like old paper.
The whiplash would be incredible. The adrenaline doesn't just It doesn't just vanish. He must have been shaking apart.
He was. And he's so confused. He doesn't immediately think, wow, I have a superpower.
No, his first thought is that he's hallucinating. Or he's dead. Or he just blacked out and lost time. But he's physically there. He can touch the shelves. He walks out of the library into the cool night air.
And this is where the survival instinct really kicks in.
He does. He doesn't go back to check on his dad. He doesn't try to make sense of it. He just recognizes one thing. He has an out. He has a way to get away.
But let's get into the weeds on this a little bit, because he doesn't just instantly become a master of space and time. The source material treats this power almost like a physical skill.
Like learning to ride a bike. Yeah.
Exactly, but with much, much higher stakes. So what are the rules? What does he have to figure out?
The first and most important rule, the one that governs everything else, is visualization.
Right. He can't just wish himself to Paris.
No. He has to see it. He calls it acquiring a sight.
Which is such a great, almost technical term for it.
It is. It's about mental fidelity. He needs a vivid, three-dimensional memory or a direct line of sight. Later on, we see him experimenting with photographs.
Oh, right. Trying to see if he can use a picture as a map.
And he can, but only if he studies it so intensely that he can build a true 3D construct in his mind. If the visualization is fuzzy, if it's just a vague idea,
the jump fails. He just stays put.
Which is a fascinating limitation, because it tethers him to his own experience.
Yeah.
He can only go where he's already been, or where he can clearly see. He can't just jump into the Oval Office.
Not unless he's seen it first. So what about the physics of it? Because if you just disappear from point A and appear at point B, you're displacing a human-sized volume of air twice.
This is where the story really shines compared to a lot of superhero tropes. The pop.
The sound.
Yes. Every single time he jumps, there is a distinct, sharp sound.
Like a gunshot.
It can be, depending on the volume of air and the acoustics of the space. Yeah, think about it. When he leaves a room, he creates a vacuum the size of his body.
Air has to rush in instantly to fill that void.
Crack. And when he arrives at the destination, he's displacing air that was already there, pushing it out instantly.
Another correct.
Exactly. Which means he can never be truly stealthy, not unless he's jumping into the middle of a rock concert or a riot.
That makes being a thief a lot harder. You can't just sneak into a quiet room if your arrival sounds like someone firing a pistol.
It's a major tactical disadvantage. And then there's the big one. The one that almost kills him. Conservation of momentum.
Ah, the classic physics problem.
Yeah.
If you jump from a moving train to a stationary platform, what happens?
In Star Trek, the transporter magically compensates for that.
Yeah.
In Jumper, it absolutely does not.
So, bad things.
Very bad things. If Davy jumps from a car moving at 60 miles per hour onto a sidewalk, he arrives on the sidewalk.
Still moving at 60 miles per hour.
He would turn into a meat crayon.
That is a horrific visual, but I get it. It's completely accurate. So he has to match velocities.
He has to be stationary to jump to a stationary place. Or, and this gets more complex, he has to jump from a moving object to another object moving at the exact same speed and vector.
Which would be almost impossible.
It turns the power from a magic trick into a constant life-or-death calculus problem.
And there's also the fear of what gamers call telefragging. I love that term, but it's a real danger for him.
Oh, it's his biggest fear. What if he jumps into a wall? Or a piece of furniture? Or worse?
Into another person.
Can you imagine materializing inside solid matter? That terror forces him to be cautious. He always jumps to open spaces or places he knows for a fact are empty. He has to check his landing zones.
So he has the basics. He escapes the library. He goes back home one last time, which is incredibly gutsy, and finds his dad passed out drunk.
A very calculated risk.
He steals a stash of hidden cash, about $2,200, and he gets on a bus. He's running away. And here, I think, is where the story shifts genres.
I agree.
It stops being a domestic horror story and becomes a gritty survival thriller.
Because the world outside his bedroom is just as dangerous, if not more so. He's naive. He thinks escaping the belt means he's safe now.
But he's just a 17-year-old runaway with a pocket full of cash and zero street smarts. He's a target.
A walking, talking target. And this leads us directly to Topper Robbins. This section of the source material was really hard to get through.
It was, because it plays on that specific vulnerability of a kid who is just desperate for a savior.
It's the classic grooming setup. Davy is hitchhiking. Topper is a truck driver who pulls over. And Topper is nice.
Deceptively nice. He buys Davy a meal, he buys him hot tea, he listens to his story.
And for a kid who just came from a house of constant violence and neglect, This feels like salvation.
Yeah.
Davy projects the good father archetype onto Topper almost immediately.
But as the listener, you just know. You can feel the tension ratcheting up. Topper drives him to a secluded spot behind a truck stop. He gives some excuse.
It's to meet some friends, or it's against company policy to be seen with a passenger. The lies start stacking up.
And that's when the trap springs. Topper and 2 other men ambush him, and we have to be really clear about what this is.
It's not a mugging.
No. It's attempted gang rape. They drag him out of the truck. They pin him down on the ground.
And psychologically, this brings Davy right back to that hallway with his father.
Yeah.
He's pinned. He's helpless. The world is just relentlessly proving to him that he is prey.
That is the pivotal realization for him, isn't it? He learns that adults are not protectors. They're potential predators.
The trauma from his father is compounded. It's magnified by this. But this time, he has the mechanism. He doesn't just wish to be away.
He knows he can be away.
He knows.
Yeah.
So he focuses, he pictures the library, and he jumps. He escapes again.
But this second jump is different. The first one was an accident, a reflex. This one. This one is a confirmation.
It validates his new reality. He realizes, okay, I am not crazy. This is real. And I have a weapon.
More than that, I think he realizes that the only person who can protect Davy Rice is Davy Rice. He can't rely on the law. He can't rely on other adults. He has to rely on the jump.
It's a very lonely and terrifying conclusion for a teenager to come to.
So he decides to leave the area entirely. He needs to go somewhere big, somewhere anonymous. He heads to the one place every runaway dreams of.
New York City.
And he immediately runs face first into the Great Wall of bureaucracy.
It's almost comical if it weren't so tragic.
Right. This is the part that feels so incredibly grounded. You have a literal superpower, but you can't rent an apartment because you don't have a credit score.
That's the invisible man problem.
Yeah.
Davy has that stolen cash, so he can buy food, he can get a cheap hotel room for a while, but he has no social security card.
No birth certificate, no parental consent forms.
In the eyes of the system, he simply does not exist. He tries to do the right thing, too.
He does. He tries to find work. He even tries to sign up for a GED class. But every single door is slammed in his face because he lacks paperwork.
It's a systemic catch-22. You need a home to get a job, you need a job to get a home, and you need a valid ID to get either. And if you're a minor, you are legally the property of your parents.
So the system is actively designed to return him to his abuser. If he goes to the cops, they put him on a bus back to Stanville. If he tries to work legally, they ask for papers he can't get without alerting his father.
He's forced into the margins. He ends up living in this Fleabag hotel, surrounded by actual criminals and desperate people.
And the streets of New York in this era are not a welcoming place. He gets mugged. He gets beaten up pretty badly. He's losing his money. His resources are dwindling.
And then comes the incident in the hotel bathroom. I feel like this is the moment where Davy stops just running and starts biting back.
Yes, this is the transition from prey to predator.
He's in a shared hallway bathroom.
Yeah.
A neighbor, this big tough guy, tries to bully him out, threatens him with a knife.
It's standard bullying tactics. Get out of here, kid, or I'll cut you.
In the past, Davy would have just apologized and left. And he does leave. He jumps back to his room to escape the immediate threat.
But then something changes.
The rage takes over. He is just done being pushed around. He finds a trash bucket, he fills it with water, and the text notes that the water is pink with his own blood because he's still bleeding from the mugging he just survived.
That's a great detail. He adds soap to it, too, to make it slippery.
It's a calculated act. He jumps back into the bathroom, rigs the bucket over the door, and then jumps out again. It's essentially a violent, desperate version of a Home Alone trap.
And when the guy inevitably kicks the door in.
Splash. He's soaked. He slips on the soapy water. He falls hard. It's humiliating for him. And Davy just listens from his room, his heart pounding.
It's a small, petty victory, but it shifts his mindset.
It does. He realizes he can strike from anywhere. He can control the environment without being physically present to take the punch.
Yeah.
He learns that his power can be used proactively, not just reactively.
But petty revenge doesn't pay the rent. He's broke. He's desperate. He realizes the legal path is completely closed to him, so he looks at the illegal path.
And he decides to aim high, very high.
The Chemical Bank of New York.
And here is where we have to really dig into the morality of it. He justifies this theft. He constructs a whole philosophy around it.
Right. He tells himself that since society won't let him participate legally, he is exempt from its rules. It's a matter of survival.
The world owes me. It's a dangerous line of thinking, but from his perspective, it's completely logical.
But he doesn't just teleport in like a cartoon robber. He's not just smashing and grabbing. He treats it like a job, like a research project.
He becomes a student of security. He goes back to the Stanville Library, his base of operations again, and reads up on bank vaults.
He's studying.
He's studying time locks, motion sensors, heat sensors, pressure plates on the floor. He's genuinely worried that if he just jumps into a sealed vault, he might trigger an alarm just by displacing the air.
Or worse, that the vault might have a system that sucks the oxygen out or releases some kind of gas.
He's right to be worried. These are real security measures. But he figures out a loophole. The external alarms are on the doors and the windows. The internal sensors are usually motion-based.
So if he jumps directly inside the vault, he bypasses the entire perimeter?
Exactly. He just has to stay still for a moment once he arrives.
So he does his reconnaissance. He walks into the bank during business hours. He does the old, I need to use the bathroom trick to get past the main lobby.
And from a hallway, he gets a clear line of sight. He visually acquires the vault door and, more importantly, the cash carts behind it. He memorizes the space, the layout, the dimensions.
And then the heist itself. And this is my favorite part of the source material because of the sheer physical exhaustion of it all.
Oh, it's brutal. It's not one clean jump.
No, people forget that money has mass. $1 million in mixed bills, mostly ones, fives, 20s, weighs nearly a ton.
It takes up a massive amount of volume. It's cart after cart of stacked paper. He can't carry it all at once.
So he starts what he calls the bucket brigade. He jumps into the vault. It's pitch black, completely silent. He uses a small flashlight. He grabs armfuls of cash.
Jumps back to his cheap hotel room.
Sits on the bed.
Jumps back into the vault, grabs more.
And he does this over and over and over again. He's drenched in sweat. He's hyperventilating. Every single second he is in that vault, he's expecting a siren to go off or a guard to appear.
And back in the hotel room, the bed is literally groaning under the weight of the cash. The whole room starts to smell like old paper and sweat, and, as the book notes, the faint trace of cocaine from circulated bills.
It's a visceral, gross, physical process. This is manual labor.
It is.
Yeah.
By the time he's done, he has cleared out all the loose, untraceable cash. The final tally is $953,050.
Just shy of $1 million.
Which is a life-changing amount of money. But now he has a new problem, a logistical nightmare.
What do you do with a literal mountain of loose cash in a Fleabag hotel room? The maids will see it. The neighbors will hear about it.
He can't deposit it. He's got to hide it. So where does he go?
He goes back to the library.
He really abuses that library card. He remembers the suspended ceiling from his childhood.
That little crawl space above the tiles.
And he jumps the cash bag by bag, brick by brick, into the dark, dusty crawl space above the ceiling tiles in the Stanville Public Library.
It is the most brilliant hiding spot. I mean, who is ever going to look in the ceiling of a rural Ohio library for nearly $1 million?
Absolutely nobody. It's his own personal, uninsured, offshore account.
So now Davy Rice is effectively gone. He's a ghost. In his place, he needs to build a new persona.
A new life.
Yeah.
Which requires a new identity.
He pays a bellboy at a fancier hotel to connect him with a forger. He gets a driver's license, a social security card. He becomes David Michael Reese, R-E-E-C-E.
And this reinvention is just fascinating to watch. He doesn't just buy a fake ID. He tries to buy a whole new class status.
He skips being a teenager entirely and tries to become a gentleman.
He goes to Saks Fifth Avenue, goes to Bergdorf's. He buys tailored suits, nice shoes. He starts dining at high-end restaurants, learning which fork to use.
It's like he's play acting. He's performing what he thinks a successful, wealthy adult looks and acts like, based on movies and books.
And he starts self-educating. He becomes obsessed with culture. He starts going to museums, art galleries, and especially the theater.
And there's one show in particular that he sees 6 times.
Sweeney Todd.
Which is such a specific and telling choice by the author. I mean, think about the plot of Sweeney Todd.
It's about a man, a barber, who was wronged by a corrupt, powerful judge. He was exiled, his family was destroyed, and he returns to London to exact a bloody, meticulous revenge.
Sweeney feels completely justified in cutting throats because the world took everything from him.
Davy sees himself in Sweeney Todd.
Absolutely. He resonates with that righteous anger.
Yeah.
He feels that the world, his father, society tried to crush him, so he is now justified in taking whatever he wants. It's a very dark mirror for his own internal state.
But despite the expensive suits and the cash and the theater tickets, he is profoundly lonely.
He's a ghost in the city. He's surrounded by people, but he can't connect with any of them because he has this massive fundamental secret about his existence.
Until he meets Millie.
Millie Harrison.
At a performance of Sweeney Todd, of all places. She's a college student from Oklahoma State visiting New York for a bit, and she's 21.
Davy is barely 18 at this point.
And in the adult world, that 3-year gap isn't huge. But when you are 18, 21 feels like a completely different generation. She's a woman, he's still a boy, just pretending to be a man.
He pursues her pretty aggressively, and he uses his wealth as a crutch. He takes her to fancy dinners, he pays for cabs everywhere. When she asks what he does for a living, he gives that incredibly vague answer.
Banking interests.
Which is the most cynical, hilarious, and technically true statement in the entire book. He does have banking interests. He is very interested in what's inside them.
Millie is reluctant, though. She likes him, but she's wary of the age gap and his vague answers about his life. But Davy challenges her on it.
He does. He makes this surprisingly mature, impassioned argument about the double standards of age, asking if she'd care if you were 24 and she were 21.
He's either surprisingly mature or just manipulative enough to win the argument. But the relationship that starts is built on a foundation of logistical lies. She lives in Oklahoma. He lives in New York.
So to keep seeing her, he has to pretend to travel like a normal person.
The amount of effort he puts into this charade is incredible. He goes to a travel agency. He buys real full-fare plane tickets that he never, ever uses.
Just so he has a physical receipt to show her. A prop.
A prop, exactly. He'll jump to JFK Airport, wait at the gate for a while to sell the illusion. Then he'll just jump directly to her town in Oklahoma. He's simulating a commute.
It sounds exhausting. And it creates this massive wall between them. He wants to be close to her, but he can't show her who he really is or how he lives his life.
And this all comes to a head in this very tender, very pivotal scene in her apartment. Millie senses he's holding back emotionally. She pushes him to open up.
And he confesses, but he doesn't confess to the jumping.
No. We, the reader, are expecting him to say, I can teleport. But instead, he reveals a vulnerability that is completely age-appropriate and deeply, deeply human.
He confesses that he's a virgin.
And that moment is so crucial, because in that moment, he breaks down, he starts crying.
It's the release valve.
It is. He's been holding in the abuse from his father, the rape attempt, the bank robbery, the constant fear and isolation. When he admits to the virginity, it's like he's giving himself permission to be a scared kid again for 5 minutes.
And Millie's reaction is perfect. She doesn't laugh or judge. She just holds him. She comforts him.
And it cements their bond. But, and this is the huge but, Davy feels like he has been completely honest with her. He calls it emotional honesty.
He's not.
He's not. The expert in me looks at this and just says, Davy, you are building a beautiful house on a foundation of quicksand.
Because he's still a bank robber. He's still a freak of nature as he sees it. And if she knew the whole truth, she might run screaming.
Exactly. The lie of omission is still there, and it's a huge one. But this relationship, this new intimacy, it gives him confidence.
Yeah.
It makes him feel empowered.
And that empowerment starts to curdle into something a bit darker. He decides it's time to settle some old scores.
The revenge tour begins. Section 5 of our analysis.
He decides to go back to Stanville. He wants to flaunt his success, to rub it in people's faces. He takes an old friend, Robert, to a high school party.
And Davy shows up in a $1,000 suit, holding a bottle of Bollinger champagne. He's not the scared kid they remember.
He's strutting. And of course, who does he run into? The local bully, a guy named Lester.
Lester is the stereotypical guy who used to shove Davy into lockers. He sees Davy and immediately tries to start a fight to reestablish the old hierarchy. He tackles Davy.
In the old days, Davy would have just curled up and taken it. But
Yeah.
this time, he uses the power offensively in a way that is purely theatrical.
It's incredible. He jumps out from under Lester, but he doesn't just disappear.
He leaves his clothes behind.
He jumps out of his suit. He teleports, stark naked, back to his apartment in New York. He puts on a new all-black suit, and he jumps back to the party.
Can you imagine being at that party? 1 second, Lester is pinning Davy to the floor. The next second, Lester is pinning a pile of empty clothes.
And then Davy is standing across the room, completely untouched, in a different suit, sipping a drink as if nothing happened.
It's psychological warfare. He doesn't throw a punch. He breaks their understanding of reality. He's not fighting Lester. He's haunting him.
But Lester is small potatoes. The real darkness, the real shift in his morality comes out when he deals with Mark.
Millie's ex-boyfriend.
And Mark is not just a bully. He's a dangerous, abusive guy. He confronts Millie at a party in Oklahoma. He's shouting at her. He's grabbing her. He's aggressive.
Davy steps in, Mark tries to swing at him.
And Davy just cuts the lights. He jumps to the fuse box, kills the power, and jumps back in less than a second.
The entire sequence is terrifying. In the pitch black, you just hear a scuffle. Davy grabs Mark and he jumps. He takes Mark to the observation deck of the Will Rogers Airport.
Which is 60 miles away.
60 miles, instantly. He just drops Mark there in the cold and the wind and jumps back to the party before the lights even come back on.
So from the perspective of the other partygoers, the lights flickered for a second and Mark just vanished into thin air.
And from Mark's perspective, the world dissolved and reassembled 60 miles away.
It completely destroys Mark's mind. He can't process it. Later, we hear he's ranting about UFO abductions.
Yeah.
Davy doesn't just beat him up. He gaslights him into insanity.
It's a non-lethal removal, but it is incredibly cruel.
It is. But the peak of this dark arc, the absolute summit of his revenge, is Topper Robbins.
The trucker.
The trucker who tried to assault him. Davy hasn't forgotten about him for a second.
No. This isn't spontaneous. This is premeditated. This is hunting.
Davy uses his resources, his money, to track Topper down. He finds him on a long haul in Minnesota, and he could teleport him into a volcano or the middle of the ocean.
But that's not what he wants.
No, he wants to become a ghost story. He wants to inflict terror.
Describe the truck sequence because it's pure cinematic horror.
It is. Topper is driving his semi down a lonely, dark highway at night. Davy jumps onto the back of the cab, just clinging to the metalwork. He uses a flashlight to illuminate his own face in the reflection of the rear window.
So Topper looks in his mirror and sees a floating, disembodied head just staring at him.
While moving at 65 miles per hour. Then, when Topper pulls over, terrified, to check his tires, Davy jumps inside the cab, turns off the engine, and vanishes.
He does this repeatedly. He makes Topper believe he's being haunted by a vengeful spirit. He is methodically dismantling this man's sanity.
He drives him to the absolute breaking point, and the climax of this. Davy just stands in the middle of the empty road.
He plays chicken with an 18-wheeler.
He stands his ground. Topper, terrified and furious and not thinking straight, guns the engine and tries to run him down.
Davy waits and waits.
He waits until the massive chrome grille is inches from his face, and he jumps.
Topper swerves instinctively to avoid a ghost he now believes is real. He loses control.
The truck jackknife flips and crashes into a deep culvert.
The truck is destroyed.
Yeah.
Topper is trapped in the wreckage, bleeding, screaming in agony and terror, and Davy just stands on the side of the road and watches.
He doesn't call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Doesn't finish him off. He just leaves him there with the pain and the fear. It's Old Testament justice. An eye for an eye, terror for terror. It shows us that Davy has lost a significant part of his innocence. He has become judge, jury, and executioner.
He also does some petty stuff to his dad, right? It's not all so grand.
Oh yeah, that's less kind of Monte Cristo and more just an angry teenager acting out. He jumps into his childhood home repeatedly when his dad's not there.
He leaves money on the bed.
Right, to taunt his dad with what he lost, with the son he drove away. He breaks a flower jar in midair. It's his way of saying, I have power over you now. I can come and go as I please, and you can't stop me.
So he has dealt with his abusers one by one. He has the money, he has the girl, sort of. But there is this huge gaping hole in the middle of his story.
His mother.
The original trauma. The question that has haunted his entire life. Why did she leave?
He has spent his whole life believing the story his father told him. That she abandoned him because she didn't love him.
And he decides he has to find her. He has to know the truth. He uses his resources, his money, to hire investigators. He tracks down her father, his grandfather, who was living in Florida.
Only to get there and find out that his grandfather died 4 years ago. And here is the knife twist.
His mother never told him.
Or rather, she tried to. His father intercepted the mail, the phone calls. He kept Davy isolated.
But he finds the lawyer who handled the estate, a guy named Leo Silverstein. And Leo has the file. He has the records from the divorce.
And this is the moment where the entire narrative of Davy's life flips upside down. We and Davy have assumed that the mother was weak, or selfish, or just uncaring.
But Silverstein shows Davy the police reports and the medical records.
She didn't just walk out.
No, she was beaten into a coma. Davy's father broke her facial bones. She required extensive facial reconstruction surgery.
My God.
She spent a year in a psychiatric facility recovering from the physical and psychological trauma.
And the reason she never came back. The reason she never tried to get custody.
The father told her, in no uncertain terms, that if she ever stepped foot in Stanville again or ever tried to contact Davy, he would kill the boy.
He turned that same violence onto Davy.
So her absence was an act of protection, a twisted, tragic, desperate act of protection. She stayed away to keep the monster calm.
It reframes her completely. She wasn't a villain, she was a hostage, just like Davy was.
This just breaks him. But in a way, it also heals him. That core wound of abandonment was a lie.
He writes a letter to her. Silverstein agrees to forward it. And eventually, after weeks of waiting, the phone rings.
And that conversation is so raw, it's so real. There are no magic words that fix everything. It's awkward. They are two strangers, two people who have been smashed by the same hammer.
They apologize to each other for things that weren't their fault.
And she tells him what she does for a living now.
She's a travel agent.
Which is just the most perfect, painful literary irony. He travels instantly, without a ticket, without a plan, and she spends her life meticulously arranging travel for other people.
They both spent their lives obsessing over being elsewhere.
They agree to meet. And for the first time in his life, Davy isn't completely alone. He has a root. He is someone who knows the absolute truth about his father, about his past.
It resolves the core wound. He realizes he wasn't abandoned. He is lovable.
So let's try and bring this all together. We've looked at the physics, the heist, the revenge, the family drama. What is the final synthesis here? Is Jumper just a power fantasy?
On the surface, absolutely. It's the ultimate wish fulfillment. But if you dig just a little deeper, it's a survival manual. David Rice isn't a hero. He's a survivor of profound trauma who stumbles upon a tool that finally levels the playing field.
He's a bank robber, he's a vigilante, he's incredibly violent at times.
He is. We can't gloss over that. He operates completely outside the law. But the story forces you to ask, if the law failed to protect you from your own father, why on earth would you ever respect it?
And the danger isn't over for him, is it? He still hasn't told Millie the truth.
That's the big lingering thread. The Jumper life is a fundamentally lonely one. He has reconciled with his past, which is his mother, but his future, which is Millie, is still built on that foundational lie.
He can teleport anywhere in the world, but he can't run away from the fact that real intimacy requires honesty. And he's not there yet.
Not even close.
It leaves us with a really provocative thought, I think.
No.
If you had this power, if you could flee any situation, any awkward conversation, any threat in the blink of an eye, would you ever actually solve your problems? Or would you just keep jumping away from them forever?
Davy tries to do both. And I think that's ultimately why we root for him. He makes huge mistakes, he crosses lines, but he's trying to stop running.
That is a wrap for this deep dive into Jumper. I hope you look at your next traffic jam a little differently.
And remember, always check your landing zone.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next dive.